West Michigan. I'm Emily Scarlett.
And I'm Tanner Holbrook. Thank you so much for waking up with us and watching on 13 Plus. Chief Meteorologist Samantha J kicks us off again this morning. It's dicey out there.
Yeah,
Not
that's
only
the perfect
road-wise,
response to that morning drive.
Yeah, this was by far my worst morning commute of the year.
Yeah.
Others saying the worst morning commute they've had in years coming into WZZM.
It makes sense. We have a lot of schools out today.
Yeah, I think if there is any school left open, it should be closed. I mean, no question about it. I rarely have ever said that before, but the combination of the tundra-like conditions that we have outside, the blowing, drifting snow, and then the Arctic temperatures, it's some relief headed into the evening hours tonight and into tomorrow morning, but temperature-wise, we still will be really cold. We start things off with our winter alerts. We've got winter weather advisories. I've said this before, I'll say it again. I wish there were winter storm warnings, especially for those Muskegon, Ottawa, Allegan, and Kent County. That's the areas that have been hit the hardest from this lake effect snow that does continue to come down. And it's not just the lake effect snow, but then you factor in the cold temperatures, you factor in the texture of the lake effect snow itself. I've seen the plows out there. They're trying so hard to keep up with it. There's nothing you can do about this dusty, fine snow that's continuing to just blow around. It's making travel conditions really, really challenging. These are our actual temperatures right now. -12 in Mecosta, -6 in Big Rapids. So the areas that haven't had to deal with the brunt of the snowfall are seeing bitter cold temperatures this morning, and we're still even in the single digits to the south of that. You factor in the winds. Everybody sitting sub-zero for feels like condition. Air mass is settled deep into northern portions of the United States. -43 in Winnipeg, -39 in Fargo, feeling like -12 here in Grand Rapids. All throughout the day today, our temperature profile remains pretty consistent at around -15 degrees, with lake effect snow continuing between about now and 3 o'clock for the greater Grand Rapids area, even longer than that for the lake shore. You can see that lake effect snow, I mean, just really coming down right now. Energy Park in Holland. The one thing, that camera's going everywhere. The one thing that I will say about this snowfall, and in terms of it actually showing up on a camera, is that it's so fine and so dusty that it doesn't necessarily do it justice. You can see there's a really strong band right now that's headed towards southbound US 131. As that continues to move towards it, that is not going to be good. We are going to see really, really difficult travel conditions on all of our major expressways this morning. That lake effect snow will continue to push inland between now and around 3 o'clock. We start to see the winds subside enough after 3 o'clock this evening that a majority of the lake effect snow falls apart. We are hit by a clipper system come early tomorrow morning, and then lake effect snow will enhance that clipper system. Northern Ottawa, Muskegon, also including Oceana and Mason County, where there will be an additional 2 to 4 inches of snowfall that comes down throughout the morning hours Wednesday into Wednesday afternoon. Well, I think this morning was a very easy choice with the lake effect snow that brought a widespread 6 inches to our lakeshore counties and extending into Kent County as well. That's about how much we've seen here at WZZM, continuing to come down, and then you factor in the cold temperatures, and it's pretty brutal outside. Our wind chill value right now in our Walker camera sitting at -13 degrees. You can see that fine dusty snow continuing to fall down. Almost makes our camera look dirty. That's not the case. It's just that the snow is so fine, blowing and drifting everywhere, making visibility while driving very, very challenging. We continue on with lake effect snow shadowing a majority of our lakeshore counties and still pushing inland. That will be the case between now and about 4 o'clock this afternoon before that lake effect snow starts to tailor back. Temperature-wise, we are sitting in the single digits right now, except for our northern counties where there's not as much lake effect snow, sitting sub-zero. Factoring in the winds, -13 in Grand Rapids, negative for some of our lakeshore counties. And then as we head into tomorrow morning, I actually expect our coldest temperatures yet. We expect to fall sub-zero to around -3 to -4 degrees. That's going to take wind chill values down to about -20 to even -25 up towards Mecosta and Mount Calm County. The good news is that that's as low as it gets. Then we start to see those temperatures climbing their way back into the mid-20s by the time we hit tomorrow afternoon, feeling more like the teens outside. Lake effect snow continues to come down along into the west of US 131 this morning, even breaking just a little bit to the east of the US 131 corridor, but a vast majority of the heavy snowfall will remain concentrated to the west of that. Hour by hour forecast here shows that lake effect snow starting to tailor back, starting to weaken after 4 o'clock this afternoon. afternoon. Then headed into early tomorrow morning, this is a clipper system that's mainly impacting our northern counties. But what's going to happen here is we're actually going to get lake enhancement on the edge of this clipper system from northern Ottawa County, Muskegon County, Oceana, and into Mason, where an additional 3 to 6 inches of snowfall is expected to come down throughout the day on Wednesday before finally trending back to a drier forecast headed into your Thursday. Looking at snowfall totals, they're not great. We still have another 1 to maybe 4 inches of lake effect snow coming down throughout the day today, and then watch as that clipper system starts to pile up throughout our Wednesday, giving everybody that additional 3 to 6 inches of snowfall. Again, northern Ottawa County extended through Muskegon, Oceana, and Mason County, where the highest snowfall totals are expected. Temperature-wise today, snow that came down yesterday, a widespread 6 inches along the lakeshore, 6 inches here at WZZM. Still waiting on some more official snowfall reports. A lot of those are from about 7 o'clock last night. And then in addition to that, temperatures are so cold that treating the roads is very difficult, and the texture of the snow itself blowing and drifting around. It's -9 degrees right now in Big Rapids, 3 degrees in Grand Rapids, 0 in Hart, and 4 degrees right now in Holland. This is our actual temperature. You factor in the winds right now out of the west, sustained at about 7 to 14 miles per hour, and it's feeling like -13 in GR, -11 in Mount Pleasant, as well as -11 in Holland. So regardless of where you're at, you're contending with these cold temperatures. Everybody along into the west of U.S. northwesterly tilt that will change band orientation from yesterday, dragging some of those bands a little bit further south of the 96 corridor and closer to the 94 corridor, where they didn't quite make it yesterday afternoon, but consistent lake effect snow expected along our lakeshore boundary itself, where the winds will hold on to a slight more westerly component. Then we see them tilt to the southwest tonight as a clipper system approaches. That clipper system itself, 1 to 3 inches of snow embedded in it, mainly in our northwestern zone. What's going to happen here, though, is throughout the day on Wednesday, lake enhancement builds in behind that, giving that northwest zone an additional 3 to 6 inches of lake effect snow on top of the 1 to 3 inches of system snow that will roll through overnight tonight for all of our continental northern states. Here in the Midwest, still sitting between -10 to -20. As you walk out the door this morning, if you are headed out on the roadways, there are very high chances of spin-offs and slide-offs all throughout the day today, as well as accidents. You need to make sure that you're dressed properly. If you were to get stuck outside, this is light and radar featuring the persistent lake effect snow continuing to come down. We are going to schools. Not only do we have potentially the coldest air mass we've ever seen on today's date, but we also have this blowing and drifting snow. Notice that how on the lanes themselves, barely any traction there. And then when cars pass you, that snow's blowing around because it's just so fine in texture. That's expected to continue to come down all throughout the day today, and then finally tailoring back later tonight. This is our actual temperature in Big Rapids, -9. So while these northern zones are skipping out on the lake effect snow, they're getting the brunt of the cold air mass. Still only 3 degrees though here in Grand Rapids, 4 degrees in Holland. You factor in the winds, it's feeling like -15 to -20. 8-hour temperatures, it's going to get a little worse before it starts to get better. We're going to see those temperatures sit pretty solidly right in the low single digits, between 2 to 4 degrees during the afternoon hours today. That keeps us at about -15 here in Grand Rapids. Tonight we actually drop down to around -3 for our actual overnight low. That's going to make it feel like -20 to even -25 before we begin to see the second layer of our 13 weather impact alert. We're also continuing to track rounds of lake effect snow that are really not expected to come completely to an end until Thursday. Satellite and radar right now showing we're kind of starting to see a tilt in the bands and the orientation of the wind, dropping it down a little bit more northwest. That will tilt back west this afternoon. Let's track it for you. Hour by hour forecast, dragging those lake effects bands still inward. The winds are still strong enough to make that happen, but again, tilting a little bit more northwest in terms of their orientation inland. Still pretty westerly along the lakeshore edge, giving everybody US 31 and to the lakeshore continuous snowfall. A little bit lower in terms of snowfall totals the further inland that you travel. Things taper off tonight, and then we have a clipper system that hits just our northern counties, 1 to 3 inches, Muskegon, Oceana, Mason County expected there. But then watch as lake effect snow then drives behind it, continuing to enhance snowfall totals for that northwest zone as we head throughout the day on Wednesday. Wednesday and into your early Thursday morning, bringing northern Ottawa County, Muskegon County, Oceana County, and Mason County an additional 3 to 6 inches of snow on top of that 1 to 3 system snow. So you're going to have a brutal Thursday morning commute as well. In terms of snowfall totals today, this is between now and tomorrow morning. So a 24-hour snowfall total of about 3 inches, US 131 corridor and to the west. Localized amounts 4 to 6 inches along the lakeshore boundary itself. And then we continue to see those numbers climbing as we track our way into your Thursday. The rest of your